have an inspiring story of transformation. Once trapped in the cycle of addiction, they turned their lives around, moving from chaos to purpose. Today, they are committed to helping others do the same, converting former drug houses into hope houses, safe, supportive homes for mothers and children seeking a fresh start and a second chance at life. Ben and Jess, welcome.
Howdy, howdy.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
I am so excited to have you guys here. Can you share what initially sparked your decision to not only leave your addiction behind, but pursue this path of helping yourself and helping others as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So the decision to leave addiction behind, I mean, we wanted to do that the entire time we were out there. Nobody actually wants to live that way. We finally hit a point of sufficient suffering to choose something different. We discovered 12-step recovery, and the 12th step, if you're familiar with 12-step recovery, it's being of service. It's carrying that message to people out there who are still sick and suffering. And we've kind of, I guess, replaced a bad addiction with a good one.
I love that. So what about your faith? How important has your faith been?
Extremely.
Yeah, like mission critical. And honestly, that's what took us back to Memphis. Our journey to rock bottom kind of hit meteoric pace in January of 2019. We lost everything in a matter of hours: house, vehicle, all of it. And for about 6 months, we had this foxhole prayer. God, if you'll get us out of hell together, we'll come back for everybody we left behind. And well, here we are doing that.
And that's, yes, we did do that. And also, this might even sound bad to say, but while we were even in the dope houses doing the dope,
Yeah.
we were still, we never lost that faith. We both grew up in the church. He had a very good childhood. Once I moved to Memphis when I was 8, I started having a horrible childhood. But up until then, I grew up in the church. So we've always had a strong faith. And even in our addiction, we never lost that faith. So we'd be trying to watch like sermons on our phones.
We made dope boys watch sermons
did.
on our phones in the trap houses, which,
Seriously?
dead serious. And a lot of the other addicts out there too. And it's weird. The ones that we watched those sermons with and who actually paid attention to them today are the same ones that are out there helping us shut down human trafficking operations, narcotics trafficking operations, and getting other people that were out there addicted with us into, recovery, into detox, rehab, sober living, back into the workforce, and living a life within the confines of the law.
You can probably see it now, but what you were doing is planting seeds.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It might have taken a while, but it worked. And
That's exactly right. And that's how recovery works too. I mean, you're planting seeds of hope in these people, and they may not take root immediately, but once they see the worst of us can recover, they're like, well, maybe I can too.
what kind of challenges not only are you facing, but what are people who are going through addiction facing that maybe other people might not know about?
Well, so I think the biggest one everybody probably can guess, and it's the stigma. We were actually talking about this with the commissioner of Tennessee Department of Human Services just yesterday. That's the biggest roadblock we run into. There's a lot of misinformation out there on the human trafficking side about what sex trafficking actually looks like. So we have volunteers come along all the time that are wanting to go kick doors and save kids, and that's not quite what it looks like. So trying to find a solid volunteer base has been a challenge. Funding is, that's always a problem. We fund a lot of this out of pocket. We obviously have a nonprofit. There's a link to it right there, but all the fundraising has been grassroots to date. So my business partner and Jess and I, we fund a lot of it out of pocket. So just trying to afford the work we're doing, because we're taking houses that if we were real estate developers, we wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole. You're not going to flip it for a profit. We spent $300,000 renovating a house that if I was going to sell it, we'd be lucky to get 150 grand out of. But the way we're looking at it is that $200,000 overage, you can't put a price on saving a human life. And it changed the trajectory of 2 young men's lives. And today it's housing a woman we pulled out of a trap house, 2 kids that the house we put her in helped her get custody of. So even though it's incredibly expensive and there's tons of challenges, I mean, the emotional toll alone, it's worth it at the end of the day.
And another challenge that we're running into a lot more often now is the prevalence of fentanyl.
Oh, yeah.
So, back in the day, like when we were out there, we were allowed to suffer long enough to where we're like, okay, it's time. We got to do something different. We're going to die. And nowadays, you've got 13-year-olds taking a pill they think is a Loratab, and they're not even discovering if they're an addict or not. Like they just took
dead.
a pill.
Yeah.
Or the ones that actually are addicts, they're not living long enough to hit that level of suffering where they want to quit because they just overdose before they even hit that point.
Yeah, getting sober is not like this magic decision. You just wake up one day and decide I'm gonna get sober. You have to suffer unfathomably to get to that point where you're actually willing to put in the work to change your life. And today, because of the prevalence of fentanyl, people aren't living long enough to see rock bottom. What should be a step on the way to rock bottom ends up being fatal. We've buried, I've lost count at this point. In fact, that wall over there is covered in people we've lost, some to murder, but most to fent, or murders that were related to fent in one way or another. And it really doesn't discriminate. I mean, just because we're in Memphis, which is one of the deadliest cities in America, you see every walk of life getting hit by this. I mean, like she said, I had a perfect childhood. You hear about hers and you're not surprised she ended up exactly where she did, but you hear mine and it's like, that makes no sense. And that's how addiction is.
Yep. And it's such a shame that our government is not doing more to help you. They should be, rather than, don't get me started, but supporting other countries and things. I promised that I wouldn't say anything. Okay.
No, this is fine. This isn't political. Look,
okay.
you actually hit the nail on the head right now. The government shouldn't be doing this work because the government only introduces more problems when they try to fix something. Bureaucracy kills people. I say that all the time. The delays you run into with bureaucracy leading the way on recovery, it results in death. A delay of minutes can be the difference between life and death for some of these people. Our southern border, this isn't political. This is factual. You can Google me. The DEA will back me up on this data. All the fentanyl that's coming to the United States right now is coming across that southern border. It's all made from precursor chemicals that Chinese companies are incentivized by the CCP to export to countries that send it to America. They actually give tax breaks, and Congress knows about this. This is in a congressional report. So apolitical, I'm staying away from politics. I'm just stating facts here. I do agree completely. The government should come alongside organizations, not just ours, but there's tons of people like us out there trying to get this done who are making measurable dents in it and moving the needle at a grassroots level. The war on drugs is not something we're ever going to be able to prosecute our way out of. You cannot win it top down. If you could, we'd be winning, right? But instead, it's an abject failure by every metric measurable.
Well, the good news is my husband Ted and I and Elon Musk recently posted a photo of you. What type of responses have you guys been getting?
So oddly, I'm wearing that same shirt, which we sell on our website, onceamerican.com. All the proceeds fund the work we're talking about. So I made that post in the middle, was it Afghanistan or Ukraine?
Afghanistan.
We worked the evacuation out of Afghanistan, and then we worked the initial evacuation of some orphanages in Ukraine. And I made that poster because I'm sitting here doing all this crazy stuff. We had 68 safe houses in Afghanistan, a few coming out of Ukraine. And I'm realizing, like, if things go sideways domestically, I'm not talking about invasion by a foreign military, but if things go sideways here in America, who's coming to help us?
Yep.
Nobody. Like, this is it. It's up to us. Yep. And so the pushback I got on that sign, and every time it goes viral again, is absolutely ridiculous. Nobody actually understands what I'm saying. I'm not talking about a foreign military coming and invading this country. That's not ever going to happen.
Yep. Well, how can people support you, and what is the best way that they can get in touch with you and support your cause?
So if somebody wants to donate and get a tax deduction for doing it, wefightmonsters.org/donate. That is a great place to go help. We sell all sorts of awesome apparel on onceamerican.com. All the proceeds go to fund our work. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn. My day job, my company I own is called Black Rifle. We're on Twitter at @BlackRifle_co. Not the coffee company. We do data intelligence for the gun industry. And I'm pretty easy to get a hold of, though. Like we're not huge. We're not celebrities. I'm a pretty easy guy to reach.
I don't know. I think you guys are. Ben and Jess, thank you so much for joining me. And I want to stay in touch and bring you guys back because we're going to get you some more funds because you're helping people, Americans who need it most.
Thank you,
Thank
Shemane,
you.
so much.
Thank you.
God bless you. Okay, coming up, we've got a Veterans Day tribute and more about making America healthy again. Stay tuned.
Relish the opportunity to be an outsider because it's the outsiders who change the world.
Perhaps you were born for such a time as this.